Final round. You win.
Welcome to Button Mash, the show where we mash all your video game content for the week for you to listen to at the press of a single button. My name is Roger, and with me, as usual, I have Chris. Hello, Chris.
Oh,
So,
what's going on?
special episode today. We've got a guest on. First time we have a streamer on board. So we have Anomally. Welcome, Anomally.
Hello, thank you. It's good to be here.
Hey!
Woo! Good to have you on. Pretty excited to have because it's streaming is something that I've looked at from the outside for quite a while, and like I don't watch a lot of streams, but it interests me, if that makes any sense at all.
Absolutely.
But yeah, pretty excited to speak to someone who's who does it. You stream pretty much every day, don't you?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
the plan every day, 8 o'clock.
Awesome.
Do you have a full-time job and then you have like streaming as well?
Yeah, I work a full-time 40 to 50-hour day job.
Wow.
40, 50
Dedication.
hours day job, yeah.
There's only 24 hours in a
And then
day,
up
by
to
the way.
40
That's
hours
full on.
streaming a week.
Jeez, that's crazy. Wow. Well,
I mean,
that's
it's good fun. I do it because I love it. So,
Yeah, exactly. You'll find time.
yeah, absolutely. I just don't find time for sleep, but who needs that?
Who needs to sleep
But
these
when you're
days?
dead.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about how you got into streaming in the first place.
Sure. So I actually originally started out as a League of Legends streamer, I suppose, a player
Oh.
first. In the community that I was playing with, friends I was playing with, a couple of people were streaming. I thought that was pretty cool, the way that you could, just fire up a stream and be chatting to people who weren't just the ones in your game.
Mhm.
So I decided to give it a go. Fell in love with it pretty much straight away. For me, streaming is basically my social life, apart from when I'm at conventions.
Mhm.
I don't really leave my house. I work from home during the day and then obviously at night as well. And so I just started streaming. I used to stream 7 or 8 hours a day after doing my full-time work as well. So I was a little bit too much.
Mhm.
But yeah, so I just started streaming League of Legends. I was living in New Zealand at the time,
Yeah.
moved back to Australia and had a bit of a transition period where, setting up in a new house and everything like that, and then found H1Z1 and fell in love with it. Became a full-time H1Z1 streamer. But yeah, I find streaming is the thing that no matter how bad of a day I've had, even if I'm like, I don't really feel like doing anything tonight, I know that if I stream, I'm going to feel better. I'm going to be laughing within 5 minutes, even if I was crying half an hour before. The community is always really, like, you see people every single night and you go, wow, these people have taken time out of their day to come and hang out with me. Last night someone came and hung out with me and it was their birthday. I'm like, you could do anything
Oh,
for your
wow.
birthday, and you decided to pop by your stream and resub of all things. And then this is someone I've known for 2 years now through streaming, and I was like, hey, let's play games. It's your birthday. Why not, make this about you now? Like, you could have been anywhere,
Yeah.
and they come to my stream. And so it's really humbling to think that people enjoy, even just lurking in my stream, because I'm very big at lurking when I watch Twitch. It's a little bit like I'll watch it while I'm working, so I don't have a lot of other time, and so I just lurk and occasionally chat. But for me, when I don't stream, like when I was away for E3, I miss it so much. It's like a part of me is missing, and even though I'm seeing people and interacting with people and doing stuff that I don't normally do when I'm streaming, it's so ingrained into who I am now to just every night at 8 o'clock fire up my stream, that when I don't do it, it feels like something's wrong. So
Yeah.
I'll happily take the time off work, but streaming, I don't want to miss it.
Yeah, right. That's interesting. That's so cool. How long have you been streaming for now?
A bit over 3 years.
A bit over 3 years, wow. Only on Twitch?
Yeah, only on Twitch.
Yeah, cool. That's awesome. We've been having. I've been watching you for the past week or so, and yeah, like I said, I don't really watch a lot of streams, but it's like something because you have so much time in a day, right? I try to do other things, but yeah, it's cool. Like you said, like people interacting with you and just hanging out, basically. Which is
every single person who I am the closest to in my life, I have met through Twitch. Aside from like family who, you're born into that life, but all of my closest friends and everyone who I trust the most in that, I've all met through Twitch, which is kind of crazy because I've met most of them in person now, but for a long time you've never met them in person. But people tend to, if you decide to take a friendship outside of the Twitch community, people tend to be very real but it is a very interesting experience because they know everything about me. They see
Yeah,
me do everything all day. I'm
right.
talking about myself. They know what I look like when I eat and when I sneeze and when I spill drinks on myself and when I'm
Yeah,
laughing and when
right.
I'm
You don't
getting
think
frustrated at a
about that.
game. And I know them as a name and like a color in
Yeah.
chat, and you can kind of learn the nuances of the way that they type. But
It's
That's
weird that like
yeah,
they know so much about you, but then you're like, oh, I don't know really much about you.
yeah. So going to
I know your
conventions,
username, but that's about it.
going to conventions is very interesting sometimes if you've never even seen a picture of them, and people get really excited and they'll come up and give you a hug and say
Yeah.
hi, and I'm just sort of standing there going, hi, who are
Yeah,
you? And then they'll introduce
right.
themselves with their real name, and I'm like, I still don't know who you are. Like, what's your
Oh, I never
in-game
thought
name?
about that. That's so interesting.
But it's a lot of fun. Like, I love it, and that's the thing. I stream because I enjoy it so much. Like,
Yeah.
it doesn't feel like a job to me, even though I
Mhm.
treat it with the same, seriousness as a job, and say if I'm
Mm.
going to stream this day, I'm going to stream unless I'm very sick. Like, I don't just go, I can't be bothered.
Yeah.
Um, but I just have so much fun, and I actually don't game off stream because if I game off stream, I enjoy my games more when I'm streaming them. Like, if I'm going to sit down and play a game, I'm just going to fire up my stream anyway. Not that I have much time outside of it, but it's an unusual thing.
Yeah.
I must say, I'm a bit of a sucker for watching a stream. Like, I've jumped on Shroud's stream. Tim the Tap Man, he's a character. He's really entertaining because he's so funny.
He really is.
And he's kind of like, I wouldn't say he's like pro level at gaming. Like, he's good.
Don't let him hear you
Like,
say that.
I know. I'm sure he won't hear this.
I mean,
I'll tell you
you
that.
know.
Yeah, that's true. But like all the other streamers, like, you got Ninja and stuff that are just really good.
Insane at every
And
single game
Tifu
they
and all
play.
these other guys that are on pro teams and stuff like that. And it's good just to watch some guys that aren't really. Actually, I think Tim the Tap Man is actually signed with like 100 Thieves or something. I think that's like Nade Shot's like MLG team. But
I'm pretty sure that was a meme.
was it
He made a
really?
video saying that he was signed. He was wearing a 100 Thieves hat, and then he went to take it off, and his
Oh,
major
lol.
news was that he shaved his head.
Oh, was it? He's the best, man. I think he's a classic. He's so good.
What do you think he
yeah,
Courage? Courage signed with 100 Thieves recently.
yeah, because he left. Who did he leave? He leave like FaZe or someone, or
No, he wasn't with them.
no? He was never with FaZe. He was with no one, was he? Yeah, that's it. No, I'm thinking
Getting
of.
all you famous Fortnite players confused here.
I'm getting all these people like just all over the shop. But no, Tim the Tap Man, he's really funny. I like him. Like, he's a pretty ordinary dude, but like a guy I can kind of relate to and
I
stuff.
really hope
And
he doesn't listen to this.
yeah. Don't worry. Again, he won't be listening to this. But yeah, because I've even a podcast with Nade Shot and Courage. They've just started like their own podcast, and I've listened to that. And Tim the Tap Man was on that, and like, man, he sounds like yeah, he's really funny. I like him. But yeah, I'll just jump into some random streams as well, just to see like what they play and
Well,
how they
every
are.
stream is so different, and people watch streams for different reasons. So
Mm.
some people watch streams because they want to see high level gameplay. Some people watch it because they want interaction with the streamer. Some people watch it for comedic value, and other people watch it because they want background noise. Like, my dad watches my stream as background noise, but it's also his way of knowing that I'm alive and I'm okay, because he can see me all the time. We don't live
Bit
in
of
the
a
same
comfort.
house. Just
Yeah. I was about to
Next
answer a
door.
question. I'm like,
Dad!
"Oh, does he?"
I have,
Hey,
a-
my
I have a
stream
brother
off.
in England who checks in occasionally, and he's like, "Oh, I can see you having fun. You're good." But we don't really talk a lot. But it's a way for people to
Yeah.
go, she's doing what she loves. I can see she looks okay.
Yeah.
Fine, I'll just let her keep doing her thing. And so there are a lot of different reasons that people watch streams. And especially, I think when you get to the much higher viewership, it's harder to have the direct
Yeah.
interaction with the streamer.
Interactions. Yeah.
And some streamers do it really well, but I think once you get to that level, it becomes more about entertainment, almost like a TV show
Mhm.
that you would watch every day.
100% like true as well. Yeah, like I go for the more comical type.
Mm.
Skill stuff, I don't care about.
The bad
If I want to see like,
Well, see,
yeah, like
It's more
I'm
about
a
entertainment.
If I wanna see, like,
self-confessed
professional-
CEO. I can have really good moments, but most of my moments are just completely whiff my shots, and I find that funny. So I don't know, people will like watch me and they'll be like, oh, I wish I could be as good at your games. I'm like, do you miss your shots? They're like, yeah. I'm like, you're as good as me. It's fine. We're all potatoes here. That's just my whole stream is themed around potatoes. My sub badges started
I
a
was
baby
gonna
potato
say, I
and
was
then
like,
have
I've seen a
cat
lot of
and-
potatoes on your your
Yeah.
stickers and stuff.
My subs are the Spud Club. So
That's awesome.
you know, it's
What was it? The
The
Spud Club.
The Spud Club, I love that.
And then when we do sub night, we measure it in what I call FPS, which we call funds per second. So I don't care how good or bad someone is, I just want them to have fun.
Yeah,
So you know,
that's awesome.
I try not to take myself too seriously. I'm very competitive, but not to the point where I don't have fun. And if I'm not having fun, then I don't want to play it.
Yeah, that's completely fair enough.
Yeah.
So if we have some listeners out there thinking about starting streaming, what sort of advice would you have for them?
The first thing I recommend is give it a go, but give it a go with what you already have. I've seen people invest a lot of money into streaming thinking that, you know, they're going to be the next ninja. You know, they drop a couple of $1,000 on upgrading all of their gear, and then they stream for a week or two and find that they don't really like it. For some people it works, sure, but if you've got, you know, any kind of computer that can at least run a stream, if you've got a headset and a mic, you don't even need a camera. I've always streamed with a camera, so for me, I prefer watching streams with a camera. I like to see people's responses, but there are plenty of successful streams without it. But really just give it a go and see how you go, because starting out is tough unless you get some, you know, very lucky situation. But starting out is tough, and you have to learn how to talk to yourself and be okay with talking to yourself and okay with no one being in your chat for an entire stream. Like, it happens. You might have no viewers. But a lot of people kind of want to see success overnight. I mean, everyone does. But you have to be okay with not having that. And then if you've suddenly invested $3,000 and you then keep forcing yourself to stream, go, you know, I've put all of this money into stream, I need to get it back.
Yeah.
You're going to be streaming because you feel like you have to. And for me, the second I felt like I was streaming because I felt like I had to, as opposed to enjoying it, I feel like I'm not streaming for the right reasons. People can tell when you don't like what you're doing. Which is why people can tell that I don't like Fortnite if I play it. You know, if I'm not having fun, it's not fun for the viewer, unless it's like a literal torment moment where, you know, it's an incentive for something else to just see you suffer. But if you force yourself to play something or to do something you don't enjoy, it's very obvious to everyone. And I think that's just a disservice to yourself. I mean, you don't go and play a sport that you don't like because you feel like you have to, right? You'll stop to do something else. You don't keep playing a game privately that you don't enjoy. So the biggest thing, just go out there and have a go, give it a go, start it up, tell your friends about it, be excited about it, try and have fun. And if you realize it's not for you, then that's okay. And then you can just play games. You can always try again later on. You can just be a viewer. You can, you know, try a different medium, anything like that. Make YouTube videos. There's lots of different options, but just have fun.
I hear
I think you heard
be about fun.
Yeah, I hear podcasting is a thing as well.
Yeah,
it's pretty
I don't
cool.
know. I've heard
cool.
about it. I'm not really that familiar with it.
Yeah, it's
Maybe I'll get on one of those one day.
It's past what?
Potato cast.
Yeah,
Potato cast.
the Spudcast.
Spudcast.
I need to
That's
make
even
this a
better.
thing.
That's awesome.
Let me just type this into a document here.
Love it. Yeah.
I think you're right with the. I think you're right with the. If you're going to streaming thinking I'm going to make money and for a job, like, just don't even bother starting. I think it's definitely a love kind of a thing.
I mean,
you have to do it for fun and as a hobby as well. Like,
Mm.
and as a hobby, is
even
something
if
that you love
wanted
doing.
that, even if you wanted that and went and tried it, you might end up finding yourself surprised and going, you know, in the beginning, I only had a couple of viewers, like single-digit viewers, if I was lucky. But those people who would come back day after day, like, you build friendships with them and you become really close with them, and then streaming becomes a way of sharing time with friends in a different way. So a lot of people who stream have, you know, not a lot, but there are people who stream have social anxiety and struggle in normal social situations, and it's a way to kind of get past that, because if you don't have to talk back to them, you don't have to invite them to a voice chat, you can play games with them and have met them in another way. Or if it all becomes a bit too much and you've had enough for the day, you can just be like, okay guys, I'm going to go now, and end your stream and just walk away, and you don't have that social situation where you've got to try and leave or come up with an excuse to get away from something. So there's a lot of different benefits. But at the end of the day, you know, people think, oh, you know, I'm going to stream and make that my job and never have to, like, a 15-year-old never have to go and get another job in their life thing.
Yeah.
And you have to be, you know, a very, very fortunate person to get to that. But I mean, you can still have some good success with streaming. But when people kind of start with that as a goal, I feel like they're a little misled
Yeah.
with what reality might be for them.
Mhm.
Look how many streamers are out there. There's
That's
so
the thing,
many.
Yeah.
because
Like
it's
you've got to
so easy
stand
to
out from the crowd as well.
More and more
Somehow
every
you
day.
can have a niche.
Just be a potato.
Yeah.
just be a potato.
Just be a
Awesome.
potato and become that wedge.
Yeah.
Wow.
Very good. All right, so we're going to do the rest of the show the way we normally do it. So we're going to do a bit of news. We don't have too much, so I feel like I've just put some topics in there just for the sake of having some news topics, but nothing too interesting since E3. But the bulk of it is going to be the games that we've played or the games that Anomalies played, more like. So we got a trailer for Apex Legends, the second season that's coming out. It's a cinematic trailer, not much gameplay in there, but it's like something's happening to the map where there's like dragons and stuff coming in and destroying the environment. Now, I watched that and I was like, oh, maybe I need an excuse to jump back in. Maybe something interesting is going to happen. But I know, Chris, you're on the same boat as me because you haven't played in a while, but we were really hyped up when it first came out. What did you think of the trailer?
Nothing really jumped out at me and was like, man, you got to jump straight back in. Like, yeah, at the end I saw like the dragons and stuff. I'm like, oh yeah, that's kind of cool. But yeah, I don't know. I think
It doesn't give us much
like-
about what's going to happen.
no.
It's sparked a little bit of
It
hope.
looks to me like
Mm.
it would be map changes coming in, I would imagine. So the dinosaurs breaking into the map,
Yep.
destroying parts of the map, which I think it would allow them to freshen up the game a little bit to instead have the same, map that doesn't change ever. But it didn't really give a lot of clarity, which I suppose
No.
is the point, to try and grab some interest so that you will jump in and play, or will
Yeah.
watch someone else playing. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what they do, but it doesn't make you desperately feel like you need to do it yourself.
Yeah.
No.
You said
Like, I loved Apex when it first came out. I was like, this is my favorite
yeah.
VR game.
We loved it
By
so
far.
much.
We loved it so much, but then it just didn't kind of hold us in for that long.
Well,
'Cause
the reason
it's
why
not
I
much-
stopped was because I
Just-
went to America and then I came back and I just never jumped back into it.
So it didn't become an addiction for you before you went.
Before I went to America, I was playing it like every day, and then I came
we were
back
playing
and
it a fair bit.
the Division
So
2
what
was
did you
out.
play when you came back? What was more appealing for you
The-
than something that was your main game every day?
Well, the Division 2 came out while I was in America, and then I came back and I started playing that, and it was like trying to catch up with people who had been playing for
Right.
2 weeks, and I just never went back to it.
It was interesting to see my community as well. A lot of people. I played a bit of Apex in the beginning, but I'm very much a third person BR player now, so I find first person feels a bit too fast, or
Okay.
too close in a sense. So I struggle with first person a bit,
Okay.
and how much variety in terms of gear and time to kill and everything like that compared to the games that I typically play. But a lot of my friends were just playing it basically 24/7, and then everyone kind of seemed to fizzle out on playing it too around the same time.
Yeah,
I
right.
think- I think it sort of got stale for people.
Mm.
Mhm.
Not that most games even do updates that quickly, but I think there were some bugs that weren't patched for, they said they weren't going to do it until 3 months away. And
Mhm.
a lot of people's opinions, I think, are driven by what their favorite streamers say. So when some of the big streamers, say, well, I'm not going to play this until such and such a point, then that sort of becomes their opinion. And then they
Mhm.
all of a sudden don't really enjoy it as much either. I don't think I really know anyone who's still playing it at the moment in my
wow.
community, when 80% of them probably played it at least
Yeah,
at least a bit.
that's interesting.
But I will probably give it a go and just try it, but I haven't played in quite a while.
Yeah.
But I played
Jump
I did
back
play
in.
it for different reasons.
Yeah, that's
We'll
it.
jump back in when season 2's out just to see what they've done, but
Yeah.
I don't know. It just doesn't. There's not enough change for me to go back in, or and I need a bit of a grind. It's gonna sound really stupid. Like, I am that type of person that loves a bit of a grind to work for something, like an unlock or new skins and stuff like that. And I think that's why Fortnite,
Would you
you
do
know,
that for a rank, or do you need like a kind of reward back?
need more of a carrot at the end of the stick, I think. Like skins or
Yeah, it is.
emotes,
Yeah.
something.
Yeah, even like as what you said, like even just like a rank, like that would be great. That's why I think like
Well, they're
I've
bringing
been such a
in
big
ranked,
fan
or
of.
they already have ranked.
They already have ranks.
But that's pretty recent.
Yeah. Oh, actually, yeah, they have. Yeah. But I think that's why like Call of Duty and stuff always gets me every year, because I go in and you have to unlock and you prestige and you just keep going and going and going and going and going until you get to that like master prestige. But yeah, I think the map needs to just change as well. Like, and that's another thing that kind of Fortnite has me there, because there's always stuff changing. There's always new game modes. There's just always stuff going on. Like that game kind of blows my mind in a sense of how it's like a bit of a story that's getting told like through the game, and the way that the map is evolving over time. And yeah, I don't know, man. And it might be just the bright colors. I'm a bit of a kid.
Yeah.
And yeah, like, yeah, there's just new skins always, and it's always sucking me in. It's just like, God damn.
I think the big difference with Fortnite in terms of pretty much every other BR is, while they do cater to a competitive scene, I think their large focus is on their casual player base. And they have a bit of a younger audience as well. And, kids just want to have fun. They don't care about grinding to be the best of the best. They want to play with their mates after school and have a good time. Whereas a lot of teenagers, I think, lose sight of that, and it becomes about being better than their friends. So Fortnite's got a lot of fun, silly things that anyone can enjoy, but it also does have the competitive side. And so by constantly putting these changes in, and if the competitive people complain, they're like, well, 95% of our players are casual and they're loving it, so that's fine. So let's just keep doing what we're doing.
Yeah, and I think when they bring out like different game modes, is like these team rumbles and stuff, where if you die, you're not dead, you just kind of glide back into the map, and it's just the first team to 150 kills. It kind of makes them like, it's okay if you die, you're not going to go back to the lobby, you're just going to just respawn again, and the way you go. So yeah, I think they kind of, is what you said, cater for everyone, and you can go to the rank side of things, and that's when stuff gets pretty intense. But
well, I think a lot of BRs have lost sight of the casual player base, because it is a very highly competitive game style, but not everyone wants to play highly competitive. People just love jumping in and having games with their friends, and then when it feels like the only people they're playing against are the ones who sit there for 18 hours a day and everyone's better than them, it's harder to enjoy.
Yeah, and I think like I was speaking to a few guys last night that I play PlayStation with, and I was like, oh, do you guys play Fortnite anymore? And they're like, oh, no way, man. Like, now we're just going to get just absolutely pumped, because I feel like even if you're out of, kind of the Fortnite game for, say 3 months or something, you feel like everyone's just gone a lot better and you've gone worse. Yeah. And
sometimes
I feel like if you
3 days, just letting you know.
Yeah, and that's why I kind of asked you what season you came in, and you said, oh, before there was even seasons. So I was like, oh, well, yes, it's not the game for you. But a lot of people are like, oh, I came in at like season 4. And I'm like, yeah, but that's when everyone already knows just the basic of knowing how to build. Yeah. And if you know if I went back to season 1 and I'm the player now, like, I'd be pretty damn good. Yeah, because I can build really well, but
you have to expect people to improve the longer a game is out. Like CSGO, for example, if you played CSGO in the first year that it came out, you were probably amazing, and then you think everyone has spent years and years and years honing their skills and learning every single bit of recoil and where you can head peek and do all these ridiculous smokes and jumps and stuff, and then as a new player you come in, at least they have matchmaking, but like if you came in and played against any of those people, you just like, this game is horrible, I'm not having any fun at all. And you just don't want to play it again.
I feel like you can kind of like cheap shot in a few of those games though. Like you can always like kill someone from behind, but I feel like there's this hit marker in Fortnite where if you hit them, they're like, oh, someone's like shooting at me. I'm just gonna build around me and build a motel. Like
a 7-story house.
Build a motel.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and then they're just like kind of just standing there like, well, I'm gonna die.
Can you imagine if you knew nothing about Fortnite And you just came in and you played and you
Yeah.
shot
Oh
someone
my
who was
god.
a champion builder and you shot them and they just turned into a house. And you'd be like, what game am I playing? And then you shoot someone else and they turn into a hotel and you're going, oh my goodness. Like, this is gonna happen to me. And then someone shoots you and you just you're like, where's my house?
Yeah. How do I spawn that
Yeah.
quick? What button do I press?
Do they still have border forts? I don't know.
I think they.
No, not anymore. They took that out. But
Yeah.
they're bringing these things back for this, like, what is it, like 16 days of summer or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And they're bringing out like vaulted items back into the game, one a day, just for a day. It's really bizarre. But they've kind of brought this party kind of games in, like, Prop Hunt from Call of Duty, and
Yep.
so they've brought that in Fortnite. But you have to play with your friends. You can't play with just randoms. So it kind of sucks. Like, me and my mate played it for a little bit and we're like, this would be so much fun if we had friends. But like, if it was just like kind of like Call of Duty, how you just go into a lobby and you just play
Yeah.
Prop Hunt. Like, man, I enjoy Prop Hunt so much. Like, it's the best fun. But yeah, I was watching guys play it last night and I was like, man, I wish I had heaps of friends to play Prop Hunt with that were on my friends list. Like, I only have like probably 4 people on my friends list that play Fortnite. But
Yeah, I wonder if I would enjoy Prop Hunt more than the regular game.
You would 100%. Do you like Prop Hunt? Like,
Well, I tried to play it years ago, and all I got was like the purple textures and stuff. It wasn't working, so I didn't really get to play it.
okay. No, I think you should try it.
YouTube videos about it.
Yeah, it's really good fun. Like, it's hilarious. I love it. But yeah, they've put that in, so they're just chucking all these kind of random game modes in. But those modes are like, you can only play with a party,
right,
with your friends. You can't play with just random, so it's quite annoying. So if you're a streamer, it would be like perfect.
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
you can just get everyone just to jump in and the way you go.
And even if they don't know how to play the game, I mean, you're a prop, so
Yeah,
hide and seek.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's a bit. I've got a little bit of a twist on this one. It's like you have like a little gun, and then you just point to what you want to turn into, and then you turn into that object. Yeah, but you still have like the whistles. It's like every 30 seconds, and then. But yeah, no, it's good fun. It's good fun. But yes,
I'll have a look.
That's my rant on. That's a Fortnite rant. We didn't think we were going to go into it, but we did. I'm sorry.
More times.
So Apex Legends.
Yes, I'm sorry, but
This is a Fortnite podcast, right?
100%. Yeah.
Yeah, Apex Legends. Yeah, bring in Prop Hunt, Apex. I'm all for it.
Love it. Oh, that was a good rant. I enjoyed that.
It's constructive.
It was 100%. Now, I probably should have asked you this before we started recording it, Ali, but have you played God of War?
I have.
You have. Awesome.
So it was nice to see this next item on the list.
Yeah, so good, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when you see something like this, so what we're talking about here is that Kratos apparently almost got scrapped from the game as the main character in the 2010 game God of War.
Which this was very interesting for me to read. I've actually never played any of the other God of Wars.
Okay.
So this would be very bizarre for me, but I think it's quite interesting that they considered it. But when you look at franchises such as Assassin's Creed, where after the initial ones, where they had 3 or 4 games with the one group of characters, they then moved on to another. I can kind of understand why they might consider something like that, because they want to keep the content fresh. They don't want people to feel like everything's already been covered with a character and you're just basically pumping out more material because you think people are going to like it without any significant changes.
Yeah.
But people were saying that the actual depth of the character drastically changed for God of War, with bringing in his son and all of the internal conflicts that they dealt with. So I don't really have anything to compare it to with the previous ones, but from what people have told me and what I've read, he's very different.
Yeah.
And I think that's what people liked. They're saying he became almost human, as opposed to just being angry.
Yeah. And Chris, I think you said you played like one of the previous ones before last year.
Yeah. Which one was it? Oh man, this is going to be bad.
I think it was like 2?
I think it was on the PlayStation 2.
Yeah.
Was it PlayStation 2?
It would have been. Yeah. It was PlayStation 2, definitely.
I didn't finish it at all. I remember the first mission that was on like a boat.
So you played the first mission?
That was God of War. I think that
Yeah,
was the
pretty much.
first
That's
one.
the only thing I can remember of it, though.
Yeah, I think that was the
Was
first
it?
one.
Yeah, I can't
There was
remember
one
it.
in
Yeah, so I
2005,
couldn't.
God of War. I think it's the first one. First installment in the
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was the first. Yeah, on the boat. I remember the boat level that you're talking
Yeah.
about. I just can't remember which one it was in.
Is it weird? That's the only bit I kind of remember about that game.
So you played the first
'Cause
level
what
of
else
God
did
of
you-
War.
probably-
Awesome.
Only, yeah, exactly, yeah. So yeah, I saw a massive difference in the changing characters. Yeah, no.
Yeah.
because there was a lot of boat experiences in the new one too.
Yeah.
Yeah, the boat was
Good
pretty
times.
aggressive.
It was. Well, there's some
But,
sort of like sea
that's
monster
weird,
like
man.
pushes his head like through the ship and like it pops out from like the middle of the ship. So I guess it kind of becomes the ship. Maybe that's what you got from that. But
Yeah.
I've played all of them except the PSP games, and I can definitely relate with what you said just before there, Ali, where he was. It was like relative to the time, right? It was PS2. The cool stuff was like, you know, all the rebellious characters with their cool attitude and that sort of thing. And that's what he was, right? He's just an angry dude who's just got these swords that are chained to his arms. He just destroys everything and he wants revenge against the gods. And yeah, that's what he was. And he was cool for the time. And
Well, this description of the PlayStation 2 game calls it a third-person hack and slash action adventure, which is certainly not what I would pinpoint the latest game as being.
definitely not at all. And it's the fact that so that's what it was. And the fact that they were able to keep Kratos as the main character, for people who have played the previous installments, it's wow, like the growth of the character is just it pretty much like
I think
it's
it's really important in these days as well, because people tend to get bored more easily with games because there's so many games out there and a lot of them are very good. And so if you have a game that you play for 100 hours, like it was quite a long game, and was it 100 hours? I don't know. There's a lot of content, but if you spend a lot of time playing in a game but you don't feel emotionally connected with your main character, you just get bored and you don't finish.
Yeah, but it's like he like you said, like he's a dad now, he's got a kid, and it's like you actually feel you see all these things, that there's all these callbacks from his previous life and stuff, and you're like, oh wow, like you can
some of those experiences as well with the son, where you didn't know what was going to happen to him, they were difficult to sit through.
Definitely 100%.
I have one time where I had one of those scenes where he thought he was going to die, and I had to end my stream. Like, I'd already gone for an extra 45 minutes. I'm like, I've got to go. And then I went and lay in bed, and I'm like, I need to know if he's going to be okay. I'm like, I wasn't planning to play this for I have to play it tomorrow. I've got to save my son. I've got to... And, like, the fact that a game can do that to you, I think, is very important. Like, that defines what can be a good game. Whereas if, you know, your son's about to die, and then you go to bed and you don't even care about it, you're like, oh, why am I playing?
Yeah. He shows a very, like... You can see he's trying to show a bit of emotion as well. Like when he tries, oh, should I hug him? Oh, no. Like I'm going to stay as Kratos. I'm going to be like, you know, your son, and like, you know, boy.
A lot of internal conflict.
Yeah. Yeah, boy.
I think it's great that they were able to keep Kratos. I think, like, obviously with you guys, it didn't matter because you haven't played the previous ones, and you still got. The message still came across for you guys, but I think for people who've played the previous ones, it's like this little bonus as well to see the extra, like the growth from what he was in 1, 2, 3 and Ascension to what he is in this game. I think it's it's great that they were able to keep him in. Well,
and it definitely works as a standalone game too, which I think is very important.
Exactly. Yeah.
Became game of the year for a lot of companies and a lot of people.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I've been thinking about like jumping back in, because it's like I finished it, but I played it over like 2 or 3 days. So it's like
maybe it's.
And you finished that way too quick.
I was just engrossed, man. Like I couldn't put it down. I could not put it down. Every minute I got, I just wanted to play it. I wanted to know what happened.
No, it's a 20-hour game. I don't know. I was thinking 100 hours.
Yeah, when you said 100, I was like, are you talking about a different game? Or
Maybe
did
it
you
was.
play God of War
Completion
5
is
times?
50
Elsie's mad.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Anything else you guys want to add before we move on?
If you haven't played it, go play it. It's a good game.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, good advice.
for sure.
Some wise words. Now let's talk about the games that we've been playing this week. You're gonna carry us this week, Ali, because
Kind of potato.
Yeah.
Says this.
I've
Very
been.
excited to carry.
So you mentioned before you were mainly an H1Z1 streamer,
Yes.
and you've played that a bit this week.
Yeah, I played it a little bit. So H1Z1's kind of in a not super great state in terms of player base. So it's
Okay.
been my favorite game for nearly 3 years. It's been my go-to game, the game that I want to play every day, that I play for 6 hours when I should have only been playing for 4, and then I keep playing.
Mhm.
I still love it. It's my absolute favorite game, but it's gone through a lot of changes in the last year and a half, and a lot of people moved on to other games. There was an issue with cheating for a while in the game. The game went to another company who were going to do things. Then that company gave the game back, and they shut down their division working on it, and so it's kind of in a bit of a limbo state, which is really sad for me because it is
Oh,
my favorite game of all time. Like any game I've played in my entire life, it is my favorite. It's the one that I've had the most
right.
enjoyment out of, and also made the best friendships out of as well.
Hmm.
But I still want to keep playing it all the time. And unfortunately, Australia is a very small region for video games. And battle royales require a large population to sustain a video game. And you see the same with like PUBG, for example. They took away server select, so they put you in whichever region is most appropriate for you based on how many people are playing. Ring of Elysium doesn't have oceanic servers. H1 does, but no one plays them, so well, not anymore. Whereas we used to get full lobbies, so I have to play on Asia to be able to play. Um, but it's still my favorite game, and that's kind of it's what I look for in another BR, which is kind of an interesting situation. And I guess we can talk about Ring of Elysium here at the same time as well, in that H1Z1's a third-person BR. It was basically it's now known as Z1 Battle Royale on PC and H1Z1 on PS4. It basically kind of is what kicked off the battle royale genre. If you're not too familiar with the game, or with the game mode, and then from that came out PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds. Fortnite came out. Ring of Elysium's sort of one that's stuck around, but there are a bunch of others that have come out. Some still out, some not. But for me, it's a third-person BR. It's got you can learn to master what's called two tapping, so you can kill someone by hitting them twice in the head, hit off their helmet, hit them in the head, and they die. But it's doesn't have heaps of RNG, which is what I find not necessarily overwhelming, but I feel like for the genre it can be a bit too much for me. So instead of having two main rifles, a shotgun, you can armor, a helmet, and just regular grenades. When you go into other games, and even Ring of Elysium's like this, you start getting into having 3 or 4 different SMGs, 5 or 6 rifles, a bunch of snipers, attachments, grips, magazines, like stocks, all this kind of thing. And then it doesn't feel like, to me, the playing field is as even. So I like H1Z1's a little bit more arcadey than something like PUBG, but it still feels it's very different to Fortnite, for example, which is much more cartoony.
Yeah.
And so, you can hone your skills and have an even playing field. Games are relatively quick. For me, it was just like the perfect BR, and so I'm kind of stuck in this limbo state, looking for a game that's giving me the same feeling and the same passion and excitement that I had playing H1. So I still play it a little bit, but there isn't a lot of room to play it because there's not a lot of people playing. And so Ring of Elysium is the closest experience to that I found, even though Ring of Elysium has gliders and grappling hooks and bikes that you can ride and things like that. But it as well, I think, is quite a good battle royale game. Doesn't have Australian servers, but does things a little bit more uniquely in that you have a volcanic, at the moment it's like a volcanic ash zone coming in, but it's not just a circle that closes in on you. It has like a dynamic changing area, and you get on a helicopter to end the game, but up to 4 people can win, and in squads that can be 4 different teams winning. So it's got a little bit of a different take on it. Yeah. And in the end, it kind of becomes trying to out heal, which I think people aren't super happy about with Fortnite, how it's like whoever has the most meds kind of can win the game. but it's got some very interesting concepts, and I enjoy it too. But I think one of the things that I personally don't enjoy with battle royale genres when they go down the bit more realistic route, because Ring of Elysium's a bit more realistic than H1Z1. Same with PUBG, is that I hate dying to one shot in a game. And
I mean,
so
I watched you
someone
pull
has-
out a push bike out of your backpack the other day.
Yes.
I don't know if that's
Uh,
realistic.
I don't think it came from my backpack.
It came out of
yeah,
nowhere.
Yeah.
Where
And
did
then
it come from
and
then?
then
If
it
it
goes
wasn't in
away.
your backpack.
Look, I'm a magician, okay? Just- But so in terms of the gunplay, I mean, and so one of my biggest frustrations when I play PUBG is, I could spend half an hour looting and still be looking for a 4x scope, and someone the first thing they found was a sniper with an 8x and a silencer, and I could spend half an hour looting and have been looking and still don't have anything really viable to shoot with, and then I die to a silent sniper headshot, and I just go, okay, cool. So that half an hour for me feels like it was wasted. I feel like I didn't do anything. I don't feel any sense of satisfaction from it. And you can die to a sniper in H1, but there are hardly any snipers because they're only in the drops, and those are very limited. And not a lot of people will hit you in the head with a sniper as like a one shot, because people don't play with it all the time, right? Like it's a very rare gun. And you know if someone's got a sniper if you're near the crate, because a flare goes up. So you kind of know, but you don't expect everyone to have a sniper. You only have a couple of people with a sniper in a game. And then same with Ring of Elysium, you can be going along and then someone just snipes you in the head and you die, and you go, oh, okay, well, okay, so I'll go queue up and let's do that again. And for me,
So the lobby.
yeah, and streaming becomes a lobby simulator, which is not entertaining for anyone. But even just gameplay, I guess it's a little bit different as a streamer, because if you're just playing at home, you can just chuck up a YouTube video while you're waiting for a game or whatever. But similarly, when you're playing in a team game, and which is something I do think that Apex and Fortnite have kind of captured, how people are going with wanting to play games with their friends at the moment. But when you die early on in a game and have to spectate your friends for 15 to 40 minutes, depending on which game you're playing, it's really boring. And I get really bored spectating, especially like streaming. I can still interact with chat, but they're just watching someone else play. I'm watching someone else play. I'm like, I just want to shoot things myself. I don't want to just sit here and stare at a screen. And if you were playing with your friends, you can walk off and go and do something else, or put a YouTube video up, or do whatever else you want to do. But being able to have a chance at bringing someone back, like within a short period of time, is also interesting, and I think changes the gameplay in an interesting sense. We're actually talking about this last night when we played some PUBG last night, that it would be very interesting to see a knockdown method in a BR where you can't actually finish off the other person, or otherwise known as thirsting. Because getting thirsted in a game, someone knocks you and then kills you straight away, you're just like, why did you have to do that? I just want to play a game. I want to have fun. It would be very interesting to have a game that you can knock people down, but you can't thirst them, that they either have to be revived, or the whole point is to kill the whole team. They either have to be revived or they bleed out. And I think that would actually be quite interesting, because you would lose that kind of that tension.
Yeah.
It probably wouldn't feel as competitive, if you want to put it that way, but I think it would be more fun. Or at least interesting to try.
That's what I think they did really well. Apex, where they did the redeploy stuff, where you pick up their card and you can redeploy your friends, even if they are dead. And then obviously Fortnite did that as well.
Yeah, and I think
and that made it interesting.
And
then they brought out, and they brought out in rankers, like seeing everyone was camping, and just like, I'm just gonna just try and get top 10 and get some points and stuff. They brought out a thing where if you kill someone, 1, you get points, and 2, you get 50% of your health back and shield. So that means it kind of encourages that aggressive play, because if you kill them, you get your health back and you get their guns. So it's kind of good in that sense.
Well, that's the thing. It was very interesting watching and having played. So I played H1Z1. I was top rank when it was in Australia, and kind of top 75 players when I was playing in the region. And even just, we didn't have like a competitive game there, right? We all just played in public lobbies. And so everyone in those public lobbies was just absolutely trying to slay as much as they could, trying to get kill records. But they were having fun in doing that. Like, there was a challenge with themselves. And then when tournaments came out with prizes, so we got private servers, or when there was, a tournament hosted by the developers, people just sit there and camp, because the prizes, it was all about winning. And I think at the end of the day, a battle royale game is a last man standing game. So if you are the last person alive, you win the game. But that's also not very interesting to watch. So you would suddenly see these streamers who would get 30 kills a game sitting there and hiding and camping inside trailers and stuff. And like laying down and trying to be sneaky, and you're like, where's this gameplay I'm so used to watching? And then they started going, okay, for every person you kill, you get a point. And then when they did the professional tournament for H1Z1 in Vegas last year, and they actually had multipliers, and so you had to come top 10 teams to get a multiplier, but you could win and have a 2.0 multiplier, but if you didn't have any kills, you would get 0 points. So they actually took away the benefit of winning and turned it into killing, but if you won, it was even better. So that way people would actually take fights, because it's just, you know, if you go and think back to watching any of your favorite streamers and you watch them because of how good they are at a game and how much fun they're having and chasing things down, and it's entertaining, and then 30 minutes sitting in a trailer or in the top floor of a house or on a roof. And you know, I don't think it's even really that fun for the people, but they're like, well, this is how I win the game. And so it's very interesting when they try to, I think it's difficult for developers to focus on both the casual player base and the competitive player
Find
base.
a medium between the two.
And if they focus too much on the competitive, then the casual players stop enjoying the game. And they go find something else. And then if you focus too much on casual, you lose your kind of competitive side, which would then potentially lose you your Twitch streamers and publicity and everything like that. Because I think Twitch streaming is very important these days for game popularity.
Definitely.
Do you play Radical Heights at all?
I did play it a little bit, actually. It was a ridiculous game.
Love it.
It's actually been picked up by another studio.
Really?
Really?
Yes.
Oh.
This was announced in May. I'm just going to quickly look it up.
That's more.
I played that a little bit. It was very like...
I believe it's been picked up. It doesn't confirm that it's going to come out again, but I believe the IP was
picked up,
purchased, I believe, by another company. So there is the possibility. That was very interesting. I did the first time that I streamed it, like halfway through my stream, I had someone stream sniping me with cheats. So that was also very interesting.
Oh wow.
But you know, it comes with the territory at times, unfortunately. But a lot of people love that game, and it's interesting because people tend to gravitate to games that look very polished and pretty. And I'm a graphic snob in video games. I find it really hard to play old games.
And
but
Radical
I had
Heights
fun
is
with
not that.
But I had fun with it.
Yes,
I played it.
Definitely not that.
I didn't play it to try and play it in a competitive way like I do other BRs. I played it to just be like, this is ridiculous.
Yeah.
But it was good.
Very quirky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
definitely.
a lot of people miss it, and I see it popping up on Twitter in the community a lot, where people going, "You remember that game? It was a lot of fun."
The servers would have been taken down by now, right?
Oh yeah, it was shut down quite a while ago.
It was a while ago.
A year ago?
I got excited about that. I was like, oh yes, a new game for Bosky. I got it, played a bit, and it was like 2 weeks later, oh yeah, we're shutting it down. I was like, oh okay. Good time.
Well, it was very, very, very early access.
Yeah.
But that was a very unique game as well, in that it had the goofiness. It was like it was a game show, right?
Yeah.
And you know, the whole point of the game was it wasn't circular zones closing in. It was kind of dynamic, just changing all over the place. You couldn't really predict, bringing you all to one central area to have like your final battle. And I think that was a very interesting and good new take on it. So I think it's important to do something different, but not too different that people don't really know what's going on and don't enjoy it so much, because it's still so foreign.
Indeed. And you also played a game called Cooking Simulator.
I did. So Cooking Simulator is another pretty new game that came out. Very, very realistic cooking simulator.
Okay.
In that a lot of them are very cartoony. This was designed to make you feel like you're in an actual kitchen.
Right.
So very realistic graphics. If you've had a plate and you accidentally walked into the fridge, you would smash a plate. Did that a few times.
Oh.
You had to clean up things. You had to cook things. You know, flip your salmon when you were cooking it, and you would be shaking your salt shaker 5 times to put 5 grams of salt on your fish and all your ingredients and everything like that. So you didn't have to worry about plating. They didn't really care, but they would judge you if you didn't cut your lemons properly and things like that. So you were trying to impress people. I played it for a couple of hours. I haven't picked it up again since, but I do think I'd like to play some more of it. But it was a very interesting game. So I think the point of it was to kind of make you feel like it would be what you were like if you were doing it yourself, obviously with a little bit of, you know, it doesn't take 2 minutes to cook something in the oven. But I feel like it was a good take on cooking simulators, and I think they're doing a baking simulator, and they've got a whole bunch of other simulation kind of games too. But it still was fun, but felt real. Whereas some of them are, they try to go more just for a casual, quirky, let's do ridiculous stuff, and now this is on fire, and go put this out, and now let's throw things at you while you're trying to do stuff so that it's a distraction. So I think it'll probably appeal to people who like simulations that are very more in line with real life.
Yeah, right. Like actual
yeah,
simulators.
Yeah, as I suppose
Like
that's what
Cooking
it's
Mama.
meant to be.
Yeah,
But
that's
it
what
was-
came to
it was
mind as well.
designed to be
Cooking Mama.
realistic.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's what I was thinking, or like Overcooked or something.
yeah. Awesome.
But you'd walk around and you have your trout on a chopping board, and you're taking it from the bench where you've put the herbs on it to the oven. But if you walked or turned too fast, it would fly off your chopping board, and it was a little bit hard to find it sometimes because it would like
Wow.
slide underneath the benches. But you just didn't tell your clients that you dropped, and it was okay. But like things would break down, and you'd have to call in repairs, and you've got money that you've got to deal with. Everything costs money.
Oh, jeez.
And like they would say, your potatoes were too salty, and that's every gamer, right?
You throw like
Wow.
the potatoes back at the people and be like,
Well, you don't just see the people; you just kind of serve it to a
Damn it!
counter. Well, at least I don't know.
Too
if you get to
salty?
see people. But actually, I was just reading a comment. Someone saying it would be fun in VR. It would be very interesting in VR. because
I
it
was
does feel
just
real.
thinking that too. I was like, that would be an awesome game in VR. I mean, there are a few of those. There's I forgot what it's called. It's like you're in a food truck and you're serving burgers to zombies. It's like Feed the Zombies or something like that.
Are they made of brains?
I'm not sure. I haven't actually played it, but it looks interesting. I might pick it
I
up at
hope
some
they're
point.
made of brains.
Oh, surely. But yeah, you're basically feeding the zombies. I mean, there's a few of those kind of games, but that would be cool. I would definitely throw some potatoes across the room and be like, yeah, you think it's too
you can
salty?
definitely throw them across the room.
So
But,
you're playing that with mouse and keyboard, or?
yeah, and so like
Yeah,
even
right.
when you have to cut your potatoes, like it gives you a line and it'll tell you how you're meant to cut them, and you can cut them. But if it's off center, it doesn't just automatically cut it in half. It'll cut it wherever you put your knife. So you have to serve things at the right temperature,
Oh,
making
God.
soups, making everything. Like it's very, very intricate compared to a lot of things. So
Yeah.
I feel like it's just easy just to go into my actual kitchen and actually cook. Like, some actual
It's
food.
actually
more
it's
and who's gonna eat it?
Me? And then like I'll just throw potatoes at people walking past my house.
I mean,
What do you mean they're too salty? Get out of here!
I think it will appeal to like I had some people in my stream who are sort of cooking enthusiasts who are like, hey, are you enjoying this? I'd like to pick it up. So I think some people have a hobby of cooking but don't necessarily cook at home, or even have a decent kitchen or an oven or anything like that. So
I clean up.
yeah, well, this one, if you don't want to
True.
clean up, you just quit the game. So
Very
I'd like
true.
to be able to do that in real life.
So is that
Yeah, I just always want to perform surgeries on people. So I just do like surgeon simulator
Surgeon
because like
simulator.
I don't want to clean up afterwards.
yeah.
Yeah.
What do? Just have blood spurt everywhere in the wall?
Yeah, and I'm just like, damn it, I have to clean this up now. It'd just be so much easier if I just play surgeon simulator.
So do you have this dream of being a surgeon?
I would
No.
Your life?
not trust Chris as a surgeon ever.
It does sound a bit like I shouldn't.
Why? I have a steady hand, mate.
Yeah.
What, on a mouse?
Yeah, but that's
Yeah,
about
probably
as not even on a mouse. Awesome. And that's available on. Do you know if it's available on anything other than PC at this point? Probably would be PC. I
shall
know. I think
investigate.
a lot of
I
those.
played it on Steam.
Yeah.
on Steam. Yeah, that's.
Yes.
I'm not seeing it on anything else.
Yeah, a lot of those simulator games they're just on
It would be
PC.
difficult with a controller. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, definitely sounds like it.
Steam, yeah.
Yeah. And the next game that you played there, how do you pronounce that? Is it Draugen?
Yes, it's
Draugen?
Draugen, which I
Draugen.
think means dragon in Norwegian.
Okay.
I'm not correct. So it's a game set in Norway.
Yeah.
Very, very beautiful, picturesque game. Great soundtrack. It's almost in a sense like a walking simulator.
Yeah.
But it is a mystery game. I don't really want to spoil the game. So, in kind of talking about it, you are a man who has come to find his sister. So, you've traveled a month by boat. It's set in the 1920s. You've traveled a month by boat. You get to this island. You've been invited to come and stay, like in this little town. You've been invited to come and stay by these guests, and you know that your sister was coming here. She's a reporter, and you haven't heard from her, and you just want to make sure she's okay. And you go to the guest house, and there's no one there, and the entire town that you don't see a single person. And you go in, you decided to wait, and you've got this girl with you, and she's 17, and she's like reckless and doing cartwheels and all this kind of stuff, and you're very serious and very worried about her safety, and you're like, she's always picking on you for being an old man and huffing and puffing. I don't know how old you're meant to be. Huffing and puffing, walking up the hill carrying a suitcase. But you're very respectful. Like, you go into this house, and you can see the letter that you sent them, where they've responded saying, you're welcome to come and stay with us. They're not there, so you decide you need to sleep on the couch, rather than just helping yourself to the guest room, waiting for them to come home. And then the next morning they're still not home, so you start exploring the town. So you're reading notes, you're finding clues, you're just trying to work out what's going on. You find different things that are going on and realize that there's a mystery in the town itself, and you're trying to work out where everyone's gone, why there's no one here. And then you find out about the arguments that had happened. There was a mine that got shut down, and deaths at the mine, and other things going on. And so it was very interesting mystery game that just took a massive turn, and just don't expect it, but you kind of just stand there, and the guy looks like Harry Potter a little bit, so I made a lot of Harry Potter jokes while playing. Completed the game in 3 hours, which I think is a little bit short for a game these days, particularly, but it was a very good game. So I'm just having a look. It's $20 US on Steam. So for me, if I was going to spend $25-$30 on a game, I kind of would like a longer game. Okay. Not necessarily too much longer, but doing it in 3 hours while kind of mucking around, talking to stream, spending a lot of time getting lost finding things in game, because I like to look at everything. I kind of will wander off and be like, oh, is there anything I can do over here? Is there anything I can do over here? Instead of just following where the story wants to take you. Some people might feel like they're not getting enough out of the game, but it was a very interesting game that kind of made you think, and it deals with you trying to solve a mystery, but also deals with the loneliness and kind of being on your own in this place and realizing how different life was, but also trying to appreciate, what's going on. And this guy is looking for his sister, and there's just absolutely no sign of her, and he starts seeing things that he thinks is from his sister and everything like that. So it was a very interesting game, very different, a short game, but I did enjoy it, and I think it does make you think, and it makes you think about the game after the game is finished. And I think that also is a sign of a good game, if you want to talk about a game once you've played it. And then I don't want to just spoil the game, because it would be very easy to spoil it, and it's one of those games that if you talk too much about it, you will spoil it. So anything that I say would start spoiling the game. But I find like when we're talking about God of War, once I'd played God of War, I just started talking about it to my friends, and I go, the fact that I want to talk about it, A, it's really good publicity for the game, but B, it means it stuck with you, it made an impression. And that defines like what a good game is for me, when I want to share it with people, or I want to talk about it and try and talk through it and understand what I've played or what I've experienced, or talk about, or want to even research and find out things you might have missed. Like, I didn't play God of War to completion. I would have liked to, but I don't have a lot of time to invest in doing all the little side quests. And so being able to research and wanting to know everything you can about a character or about a world, I think is a sign of a good game. But yeah, it was a very, very interesting game. Definitely enjoyed it.
Awesome. It's definitely not the one that I thought you were talking about when you brought it up before. Definitely not. But that sounds cool. I'll definitely have a look into that one. But you also played a bit of Crash Team Racing, which I talked about a little bit last week, twice.
What are your thoughts on it?
From my understanding, you played it when you were younger, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
I grew
okay.
up with it.
I didn't.
Couch co-op with my brothers. Do you want to play CTR? That was us all the time. Too much to say its full name. Let's play CTR.
Yeah, right. When you call it CDR,
did you play it when you were younger?
I didn't, no. So I played a little bit because one of my friends had it, and that's like I played at his house a few times. That's about it. So I have no real attachment to it. So
what were your thoughts then, as basically a newcomer to the game?
I like it. So basically what I was saying last week was, if this was like a new kart racer that came out today, not a remake of an old one, I would have been like, this is awesome. Like, it's I compared it to Mario Kart, which is an easy comparison, right? I just feel like it's a more technical kart racer, and I like that about it. It's not as simple as just holding down the button to just do a power drift around a corner. You actually have to time it right to get a boost out of your power drift.
Yeah.
And that's cool.
And it doesn't have Rainbow Road.
Oh, why would you even bring that
So
up?
for me, I have a lot of my childhood memories of playing Crash Team Racing and Age of Empires 2. That was a vast majority of my childhood in terms of gaming. So I was really, really excited about this. I'd actually bought the original version on the PlayStation 3, PlayStation Classic store, so you could play it, and I played it a couple years back as well, which was obviously the old version. But for me, playing it took me back to that experience, and it was just like playing it and having so much fun and laughing and getting frustrated in the same ways all over again. So I think they did a really, really good job in the remaster, and I think it probably stands true to how good the game was then. That they didn't really have to change anything for it to still be a good game now. And gamers have changed, and gaming has changed, and people's demands on games have changed. But I just had so much fun, and I played it like the whole 4 hours of my stream. I just played it all night. I'm not so good at console gaming anymore, and that my hands are getting sore and crampy, and not because I'm so used to a keyboard and mouse now, but I just played it medium. I was better at this when I was single digits. I can't beat medium. So I'm probably gonna have to restart and go back to easy, but it also just really makes me want to play with my brothers again. And I have one living in the Netherlands, one living in England, and they're both going to get the game, and we're going to play it again. Don't know how ping's going to be, but we're going to play it again and try and relive that experience as we have done with Age of Empires. But I think a lot of people, even if they don't have the game now, were coming by the stream and they're going, oh my gosh, I loved this game so much. And someone was meant to go to bed and they watched for another 2.5 hours and me just playing. They're like, I can't go to bed. I'm just loving watching you play this, because this is kind of represents really good aspects of people's childhood, and it doesn't matter what they went through or anything like that. It's like a bonding point, because this was part of a lot of people's lives, and it is a good racer. It's not too easy. It's like on medium, it's difficult, and
it's hard, isn't it?
I can't do medium. I did one race like 40 times. I'm like, you know what? I can't do this, and I was trying to change the difficulty, and you can't. I'm like, whatever, I guess I'll just do it, and I'll start new difficulty next time, and I played it, and I did it the next time. But I can I beat the bosses on the first go. I just can't win the races.
Yeah.
So it's interesting, but I think, like, I've never been that good at car racing games. When I used to play Need for Speed growing up, I never used the brake. I just bounced off the walls. So that's probably why my brother always.
Bumper bowling.
But like, I was 5 or 6 when I learned to play these games. Like, I don't want to use a brake. I just want to go as fast as I can.
Yeah.
And so I loved it. I think it's a really, really good thing. I'm hoping that more of my friends get it so I can play it. If you guys want to play it, I want to play with people, and have just a crazy fun time playing in multiplayer. Because I've only played the story, but not a lot of people have it yet. It is still pretty new, having come out, and obviously not everyone has a PlayStation 4 these days. Everyone's got, most of my community plays on PC, but I really, really loved the game, and I want to play more of it. But I also need to rebuild up the calluses on my thumbs to be able to play for that long, because very
Sounds like I'm gonna have to get it.
This was like very early days in my childhood gaming, and I think they've done a really, really good job, and everyone I know who's played it has enjoyed it too. Like, I haven't really even heard a bad story about it. So I'm hoping that a lot of people get that experience, and it makes me happy to know that new players to it are enjoying it as well, because sometimes games are just nostalgic and it takes you back and you can enjoy that. But if you've never played and you're still saying, hey, this is a good game, that makes me happy. And does it make you infuriated as well with what goes on? Like, if you're going somewhere and just get chomped up by a plant and you're like, really? Who's gonna win this race? Or you get a really bad power up and then everyone just overtakes you.
Yeah, I hate that track. The boss race.
Temple?
Yeah. I hated that one. But it's good to hear you say that you had a bit of difficulty, like, starting on medium, because I couldn't tell if I sucked or if the game was hard.
Well, so the first couple of races, like, it took a while to get back to remembering how to drift. And drifting is hard. Like, you can't win these games without drifting.
No way.
I don't think, unless you get very lucky. And the first 4 races, it took me like 2 or 3 goes to win each one.
Yeah.
And then I just defeated the boss first go. I was like, oh, okay, like, I must just suck at the racing. And then the next one, it was like 3 or 4. And then some of them was like 9 or 10 goes to win. Or like, it'd be so close. And then like Coco would just overtake me. The worst one is when Tiny Tiger overtakes me because my brother always played Tiny Tiger and my brother always beat me. And I was like,
Oh,
this is my
no.
brother in a
Flashback.
video game. He's not even here, and he's just destroying me.
He's haunting you.
Yeah.
That's funny.
But just constantly, it would always be him. And then Coco, I think I used to play Coco a little bit when I was a kid, and so, but then I stopped playing her, and my brothers didn't like her character because it was me, and I was the annoying younger sister. And then I started not liking her, and then so when Coco was beating me in games, I'm getting annoyed now as an adult, going, "Damn it, Coco, just go away! You're so annoying." I always played Polar, but I've been playing Crash just for this because it's kind of a bit more balanced to get back into it.
Yeah.
But it is hard. And then, you know, I'm just trying to get to Polar Pass because Polar Pass was my favorite map. I made my brothers play it all the time. They probably hated me for it, but they put up with it.
That's where I'm up
but
to
I can't
now.
even get there because I can't beat the one before it, and I've done it like 60 times or something.
Oh,
I swear,
really?
so many times, and I can't do it because I'm terrible.
That's what
But
I'm
I'm
up to
having
now.
fun. But I think I'm gonna go just drop it back to easy because
Yeah.
as a streamer, I find myself doing this as well. Whereas before I used to stream games, I'm a completionist in terms of the playstyle. Like that's how I prefer to play games. But streaming a game, I'm trying to share the game with my community as well. So if I spend 6 hours trying to do one thing, I mean, at some point it's going to get boring for them as well, and like it's frustrating for me. I would rather just drop it back a little bit easy, still show them everything that's going on, still have fun. And like even with God of War, I didn't get to finish everything, but once you start going after the tiny little things and like trying to collect the birds that are flying around, for example, like it's not as entertaining. I find if you haven't done it along the way, like if you're just going and collecting things. So my actual play style has kind of changed a little bit, and whereas before I would have persevered with the challenge, I now go, okay, maybe I'm just not as good as I want to be, but let's just drop it back and try and focus a little bit more on the fun rather than the challenge. And then if I really want to, I can go and play it again later on. And try and up the difficulty. But I don't know, I'm enjoying it, and it's difficult, and it was frustrating me in a good way, but I don't think I'm up for the challenge. I don't think I can do it. So especially given that there's still, you know, another 12 courses or something ahead of me, right? Or 4 or whatever it is. So I know I'm not going to be able to do them. So I'm going to have to drop it back to be able to do them.
Yeah. That was my only gripe, that you can't change the difficulty after you've started the game.
That's how it was originally.
And
really? That's how a lot of games used to be there. Like if you put a game on medium, you couldn't just change it.
Yeah, but I feel like they should have made that change. But I mean,
yeah,
it just made me get used to medium. So
the classic game style said that you wouldn't be able to change the difficulty, so I picked the Nitro one, which is the new one, thinking that it would let me change it, but I still couldn't. So I thought I might be able to, but you know, you can just change your characters and your cart and everything like that, whereas on the classic style you couldn't. But you know, it is kind of it's meant to be a remaster. It's not meant to make the game easier.
Yeah.
But it is difficult.
Yeah.
So
it makes you want to get in there.
I don't really want to go back and play the first 10 tracks again on easy to continue, but that's what I'm going to have to do to be able to progress.
Yeah.
So it's okay. Like I'll do it, but I do agree. It would be nice to be able to change back.
Yeah, because I finished I think I beat the first boss, and I was like, I don't know if I'm probably going to enjoy it less if I keep going on medium. And then I was like, but I don't want to play all these races again. And then I think I just got used to it, and now I'm just playing on medium, and I'm up to whatever the ice one is called. Was it Ice Pass? You said Polar Pass. That's the one. Yeah. So that's where I'm up to now, but I haven't picked it up in the last probably week.
How did you go with the ones before that? Were you able to clear them okay, or still struggling a bit?
The last few before that I was okay. Like I'm getting the sort of timing for the power drifts and the jumps pretty well.
Maybe I should persevere then. Maybe I should.
Maybe we'll play online together. I'll coach you a little bit. Not that I'm great.
You can coach me.
I'm really not that good.
Like 7,
I'm still having.
Then I'm going to be amazing.
I'm not doing any races.
You can.
Yes.
Yeah, you need to play too. I would love just more people to play the game with. It's interesting. I actually played this Sonic racing game a couple of weeks ago, and I've never played a Sonic game in my life. So that was my.
Hello.
Yeah.
Oh, she just cut out.
Whoops! I accidentally muted myself.
Okay, that's fine.
So I played Sonic Team Sonic Racing a couple of weeks ago, which was a new game that came out. So I've never played a Sonic game, especially never a Sonic racing game.
Yeah.
And so that was interesting. I played it for I think about 2 hours, but I definitely didn't enjoy it as much as Crash, even if I take away the nostalgia. It was still a good game, but it just kind of didn't grip me as much as
especially if you don't have any
saying,
attachment to the IP, right?
Yeah, but I think as well, Crash Team Racing has more things to master. So it's got like the drifting and whatnot. And Team Sonic Racing playing that like in the story mode, you had to then do something where you had to collect X number of rings without your time running out. So whenever you would get a ring, it would give you a bit of extra time, and that it kind of threw you into that very, very quickly. And I was just like, I can't do this. Like, you had to do some kind of drifting thing, but I was like some sliding around, and I'm like, this is like it's not fun. Whereas I feel like in Crash, when you're still racing, like in the beginning when it's getting you into that, you're still racing and trying to beat other people, so it still just feels like a regular race, and you're trying to improve yourself, as opposed to I'm collecting rings and I'm just timing out and I'm not good enough, and like I don't really know what I can do better. And I don't know, I think it's just a different way of introducing you to mechanics in the game. I think might be a little bit easier or a little bit friendlier in Crash. And then because Crash also has its time trials and things like that too, but you have to complete all of your races first before you get to that point. So it gives you time to at least think you're good at the game before you start getting frustrated at the game, and like you don't need it to progress.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
I was curious about that Team Sonic racing game. Actually, I was like, I almost bought it a couple of times, and I'm like, what am I doing? Crash Team Racing is coming out.
I did enjoy it, and I was given it as a review key. So I don't know that I would have purchased it myself to try, especially without having played anything in it. And so I did enjoy it, but like it doesn't really even come close to me.
Especially when you got
Crash Team Racing.
Crash Team Racing that's coming out like a couple of weeks after that.
Yeah,
so.
Interesting timing on their
behalf.
Yeah, maybe.
Right.
I mean, you kind of have to take your chances too.
I guess, but yeah, it's just really weird, especially like kart races. It's not something that comes out a lot, right? There's not a lot of those. Like I would have delayed it or something like that.
But yeah, I think a lot of people have been very excited for Crash Team Racing. The second I found out it was remastered, I messaged my brother and like, if you don't have a PlayStation 4, go and buy one now.
Yeah.
So my brother's buying one for this and for the Final Fantasy VII remaster, and my other brother has one.
Awesome.
But you know, it's interesting timing indeed.
Yeah.
And I think it's hard to beat Crash Team Racing. Like, so many people are very fond of it.
Yeah, definitely.
Let's go.
What's that?
I was just saying, like, I was going to get it, but then I was like, man, I've gone back into like other old games like Assassin's Creed and stuff, and I'm like,
oh, you've gone to
old
old games,
let that go again. Well, not as old as you. Yeah, I will. No, I will get it. No, don't worry, I'll get it. I promise.
Sounds good. Sounds good. Well, speaking
of, you know what's gonna happen, Roger. I'm gonna like straight after this. I'm like, got it.
Yeah, you should.
I'm such 100%. A sucker. Like I always do it. I'm just like, got it.
It's a really good game though, and I think the biggest thing that I miss about multiplayer games these days is Crash Team Racing was a couch co-op game. It's like you came home after school, you all picked up a controller, you sat on your beanbags or like your little fold-out couch things together, and you all played a game, sitting next to each other having fun. Whereas now to play multiplayer games, like everyone needs to own a PlayStation. And like even if you had two brothers or a brother and a sister in a house together, both of them needed to have a PlayStation 4 to be able to play against each other. I don't know if this has couch co-op. I really hope it does.
Which one? Crash Team Racing?
Crash Team Racing.
It definitely does, yes.
It does?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Because like if my brother comes to visit, I'm like, you know what we're doing? We're playing this right now. So having the split screen and everything, like it's a very different gaming era to what it was 20 years ago. I'm showing my age.
Don't worry.
I don't even know when the original came out.
I'm pretty sure we're older than half the population, but that's fine. But speaking of old games, I finally finished the Legend of Zelda. The Legend of Zelda, Twilight Princess. Which
you got it.
Yeah. So give you a little bit of background story there, Ali. So what happened was which one was it that you picked up? Wind Waker, Chris? Yeah, Wind
Yeah,
Waker
Wind
was
Waker.
on special at JB Hi-Fi for like $15. And I said to Chris, mate, you're not going to be playing this game. I've had Twilight Princess for like 2 years and I haven't touched it. And then that night he was like, I started playing Wind Waker and I love it. And I was like, damn it, now I want to play Twilight Princess. And I expected it to be like a 6 to 10 hour game. And then I spoke to my friend who's a massive Zelda fanatic, but he never finished Twilight Princess. And he was like, it'll probably take you like 10 to 12 hours. I was like, okay, a little bit longer than what I expected, but whatever. So I talked about it on the show a couple of weeks ago, and I was very confident that I was like 3/4 through the game, and I was like, yeah, so I'm turning into a wolf for the third time, and I believe you do that 3 times, and then you get to the final part of the game. So I'm almost finished. I'm pretty sure I said that. I'm almost finished. And I was like 12 hours in. I finished it yesterday morning and clocked in at 35 hours. So not what I
I'll just be
expected.
clear with you. I've never played a Zelda game in my life.
Yeah, that's fine. That was the first Zelda game I've ever played as well. So,
But
it's.
did you enjoy those 35 hours?
I did. So the thing about this, it just brought me back to, I think, similar to what you're experiencing with CTR. It's brought me back to a time where games were a lot more. I don't think simple is the word, but the focus. Did you say simple?
Damn it!
I think
it was a simpler time of life, I think.
Yeah, but it's like the focus was more on the level design, and the level design in this game is just so impressive. It's like you go into a certain part of the game and you see certain things and you're like, I can't do anything with this. Why is that there? And then you'll come back at a later stage and they make use of that thing and you're like, that means that they thought about this when they designed this earlier part of the game. So it's like this.
And yeah, I think games are definitely a lot different now.
Yeah.
And people kind of, I don't know, I think people's interests are kind of different. If they're not engaged the entire time, they'll just give up on a game and walk away, or they want to do something and just move on. And I don't know, like we expected a lot. I think we expected a lot more from games in the past, and the ones that do it these days, like if you think about God of War, for example, like a game that comes back to a lot of things as well.
Yeah.
It really stands out, and maybe it stands out more than it should because other games don't tend to do it as much.
Exactly right. Well, this is that sort of thing that this game had a lot of. I just didn't expect it to be that long. I was like, I'm going to finish that in like a week. It'll be fine. 3 weeks later, but no, it was awesome. Storytelling was great. The puzzles in the games are really clever, and once you solve them, you just feel really smart. Even though obviously the game developers have thought of it, so
yeah.
But no, it was really good. There's lots of you get to a different part of the game and you pick up a certain item that brings another layer of mechanics to the game, and just something refreshing at every point of the game, which was awesome. So this is made me go back to a few older games. I've brought out the Game Boy Micro and I've started playing. Yeah, I know, right? I'm playing Pokemon Leaf Green, and I've also booted up my PlayStation 3 for the first time in like probably a year, and started playing Prince of Persia: Sands of Time last night. Such a great game. Really? Oh,
I've missed out on a lot of like games that people say are the best games ever. I've just never touched them.
Yeah, I mean, would that be on Steam? Sands of Time.
I think it's on the Ubisoft store.
Yeah, definitely would be on there, right?
Maybe. Did you play Red Dead Redemption 2? Just out of curiosity.
Yes.
When we're talking about long games.
Yes, I did. We did. Chris,
played 83 hours of that.
Was that your favorite game of last year, Chris? I think it was, wasn't it?
It was.
It was. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And I played it this year because at the time, I don't know if you remember, but Assassin's Creed Odyssey came out around the same time as.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah, and that was my favorite game of last year, Odyssey. So
I quite enjoyed that. Did you play it as male or female?
Female.
Yeah.
Are you playing as male or female,
me,
Chris? You're female as well. Yes, sweet. Yeah,
female.
I think she was the better actor out of the two, I feel.
Actually, a lot of people said that because one of my friends played as the male, and when we're comparing scenes, we're just like, oh boy.
Yeah, right?
This is very different. But I never played Origins. I have Origins, but I haven't played it. But I grew up loving Assassin's Creed. I played all of the early ones up to Black Flag, and I didn't particularly like naval combat, which people loved.
Yeah.
But that was like, I didn't actually finish that game because I didn't enjoy naval combat very much.
Oh, really?
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Interesting.
but I think I played more like for the storyline. I'm like, do I really just have to blow up ships right now? Like, this is boring. I just want to keep doing it. And you had, like, it forced you to do it. Like, it was a big part of the storyline, right?
Definitely.
And then I didn't play anything up until Odyssey.
What's a pirate without his ship?
So I missed a lot. But I loved them growing up. Like, I particularly loved the initial series and the storyline that came with that. And that was one that I used to talk about a lot outside of playing. So I knew that game, like, had made a big impact on me. And in fact, I've called my NAS drive the Animus. So, you know, there's that too.
That's awesome. Yeah, I had a big Assassin's Creed phase. Remember that?
Oh, yeah. Well, I played like all the early ones and I loved it. And then I think, then you were like, no, I haven't really played them. Did you say you started the first one? And then you said, no, it's like,
what happened was
and I'm like,
you kept playing them. And then you gave me Assassin's Creed 2 for my birthday. And yes, you were right. So I played some of the first one. I was like, it gets really boring, really repetitive. And then you gave me Assassin's Creed 2 and I was just hooked. And I played 2, Brotherhood. What was the one after that?
3.
Mm-hmm. No. There's one. No, there's one after Brotherhood. That's still Ezio. Revelations. That's it. And then 3, and I just finished them all in like the space of like 2 weeks or something like that.
Like that initial storyline where it was all together was just so good.
That was awesome.
Good. Yeah.
And I think maybe like because Black Flag moved on to new characters as well, so I think that might have been. I was like a bit sad, but obviously I couldn't have continued the other storyline. But I loved that initial one, and that really got me hooked into it.
Yeah. But yeah, that's why I didn't play Red Dead Redemption 2 straight away, but I played it this year and loved it as a...
I did Odyssey first as well, because I didn't want to take on 2 mammoth games. And then it took me 3 months to play like my 83 hours of Red Dead, because like I was still playing H1 and doing other stuff and whatnot. But it took a long time, but like I really enjoyed that too.
Yeah,
that's why I'm playing Odyssey now.
Did you play Detroit Become Human as well?
No, we haven't played that.
You should play that. That was one of my favorite games of last year as well.
Oh, really?
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Very, very interesting game, and like where all the decisions you make impact other things, and there's many different storylines and like so many different endings, and you can have characters be good or bad, and it was very, very interesting.
Yeah.
Highly recommend it.
One of our friends play that, didn't they? Who was it?
Finn's got it.
Or am I making that up?
No, Finn's got it.
Finn's got it, yeah. Okay. That's right. Yeah.
No, I thought it was a very, very good game. So probably my 3 like favorite story games I played last year were that, Red Dead, and Odyssey.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I really need to. I've never really played any I know it's David Cage. What's the company called? Massive or something? No, it's not Massive. Massive is
Detroit?
Yeah, whatever the company's called. I've never played any of their games, like Heavy Rain and
I
Beyond
enjoyed
Two Souls and Stone.
Quantic Dream.
That's them. That's right.
Is the developer.
Yeah.
So I played Detroit in just under 12 hours, and that game I spoke about for a very long time, and went to YouTube and started watching all these endings, and like my community were doing the same. They're like, oh my gosh, have you seen this ending? And like, or this scene that happened, and if you didn't do this, this is what happened. Like everyone loved it. It was really, really, really good game. I feel like you're missing out by not having played it.
Yeah. Well, what I need to do, Chris, you'll probably need to do the same thing. Last night I installed Wolfenstein 2.
I have not played that.
I need to play that because
we suck.
I know. I installed it. I intend to play it very soon because I want to play Youngblood when that comes out.
Mm-hmm.
So... yeah,
that is one of the games that people are like, you need to play this.
Have you played the New Order?
Just Wolfenstein games. So it's just so many games. Everyone's favorite games haven't played. I've never played a Borderlands game before. I did play 10 minutes at E3 of the new one, but people are like, you've got to play this. This is amazing.
Didn't like
It's
it?
just I didn't know what I was doing, so I'm sorry, I'm not really sure how I feel about it. So when I play BRs, I obsess about loot. I have OCD. I love looting. I pick up way too much stuff, but I have in my brain like a mental, this is what I want to get to have my ideal loot, right? But when I
Yeah.
play typical looter shooters, because I played a little bit of The Division, I played some of Rage, and I want to like them, but I feel like I don't care about, like, I feel like the storyline isn't fleshed out because it's obviously a story-based game too, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like I lose interest in the characters, and then I really just feel like I'm shooting for the sake of shooting, and I don't really know why I'm doing anything anymore. And I find it really hard to retain my interest. And I think it's a little bit harder for me to make a decision on Borderlands, given it was 10 minutes in the middle of the gameplay. But it felt like the same kind of style of gameplay. And don't get me wrong, it's not a bad style of gameplay, but I haven't really had one of those grip me in a while. And like I tried Rage 3 on 3 different occasions. Oh, sorry, Rage 2.
Two. Yeah.
Which one's Rage 2 on 3 different occasions, and I just tried to get into it. I'm like, I don't even remember my character's name. Like, you know, I've only played 8 hours. How do I not even know who I am? And when they say something, I'm like, is that a good guy or a bad guy? Like, I don't know what's going on. So I don't know. It's interesting. I think it might just be a genre that's not necessarily for me.
Mhm.
So many people love it, and like I'll probably give it a go when it comes out. But as well, not having attachment to the IP already from the original games, I think probably works against me because I'm not, you know, I haven't been waiting years and years for this game to come out and wanting to see what's
Yeah.
happening to the characters because I don't know anything about them.
Well, it's going to
So
be new
it's
characters,
hard
isn't
to
it?
say.
I-
I have no idea.
Yeah, I haven't played much of them either.
Yeah.
Chris is probably the most experienced with Borderlands, but even him probably doesn't know.
Yeah.
I think it's more of a for us anyway. I think I speak for both of us. It's just a game that we enjoy playing together. Just we don't care that much about the story either. Like if you ask me about the story of Borderlands 1 and 2, I couldn't tell you. It's people on like a wasteland
But did
kind
you
of.
enjoy them?
Yeah. It was like we didn't finish them, but
Yeah.
it was fun playing together. It's just like us hanging out, playing a game
I think
together.
that's probably where it's different for me in that I'm, for the most part, a solo player. So when I played The Division, I played like before the proper launch, I played a bit of it, and people were playing, like their friends and stuff were playing. I'm like, I just want to play this on my own and do my own thing. But I think a lot of the value is in multiplayer.
Yeah.
But I think as well, being a streamer like who plays solo games for the most part, I think that might come into it. But I don't know. I've just kind of almost always played games by myself. So I tend to go, well, if I can play it on my own, I'm going to play it on my own for the most part. And a lot of that enjoyment is playing with friends, I would imagine. Because all my friends who are playing it together are having a great time. And they're like, do you want to play? I'm like, I'll just give it a go on my own. And then I don't play it again.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's probably just a flaw in my own play style in terms of what the games they're targeting.
No, that's
but,
completely fair enough.
Different, so.
Yeah, exactly. No, that's completely fair enough. And yeah, that was The Legend of Zelda: Twilight Princess.
Why do we always do this?
That's the best part about the podcast.
What do you think about Fortnite then? That's weird.
Yeah, true.
If Fortnite has a really good story, the map change it.
Probably do a Zelda crossover at some point, right? They've done so many of them.
Yeah, definitely, 100%. Oh my god, I can't talk anymore. Another game that I played was The Cycle, which is in its alpha phase at the moment. It's been made by a studio called Jaeger, who made games such as Spec Ops: The Line, which I think Chris you loved.
Yep.
Yeah, so they made Spec Ops: The Line and Dreadnought, which is on PC and PlayStation 4. So what it is, it's more the development that's the interesting part about this game, I think. So yeah, as I said, it's in alpha at the moment, and how they're running it is they're just running tests during the weekend. So Friday to Monday, you can play the game. During the week, it's just working on the bugs and improving the game, working on the actual game, and then they let testers play on the weekend. So I got a code to try it out, and I played a bit yesterday. What it is it's basically you can play one of two ways. You can play solo, or you can play in a squad. So it's a first-person shooter. Essentially, you get dropped onto this map, and
Are
you're
they
go on.
two
Sorry.
different game modes, solo and squads, or you can
Kind
play
of.
solo in a squad mode?
So they're definitely like separate in the sense of if you're playing solo, you won't be playing against squads.
Okay, yeah.
But if you go in solo, you can, when you meet other players, you can ask them if they want to join you, and then you form your own squad. It is, yeah. So how it works is you're a prospector. You go on this planet and you need to mine for these minerals. So you find the minerals like build-ups and you bring in a drill. But when you bring down the drill, it attracts wildlife. So you have these aliens that start attacking you, and you got to fend them off, wait for the drill to do its job, and then you take the minerals and move on to the next spot. That's the basic gameplay loop. And to get new weapons, it's basically the kind of Counter-Strike method where you get money from killing all these aliens, and then you go into a certain menu and you buy weapons using credits that you've earned, right? You start the particular game with 0 credits, get credits, buy weapons. Where it gets interesting is there's other players around that map. You don't know where they are, but at some point you'll probably run into them. And then what you can do is, if you're playing squad, you just kill them, take their minerals, and the whole goal is, I think you're on there for like 15 to 20 minutes. At the end of the 20 minutes, you need to leave the planet. So you go to a dropship, jump on there, and you leave the planet. And the goal is to be kind of the last survivor and get the most out of the minerals and whatnot. And you get sort of side contracts that you need to do as well to keep it interesting. But it's kind of a battle royale in a way, where you need to be the last person surviving, because everyone will need to, if you're still alive, you don't respawn. If you're still alive at the end of the 15 or 20 minutes, you'll need to meet the other people at the ship, and then you can kill them or whatever. I feel like that would kind of get a bit repetitive, because like, it was fun playing a couple of games, but I mean, after a few, I'll probably go on.
They have Australian servers?
I don't think so. It's not in, like, it's not even open at this point. So I don't. It's a German developer. It wasn't hard for me to find games.
Was ping an issue? Did it feel like it was an issue?
No, not really. No. It was fine. I've only played like 3 games or so, but it's been fine.
Right, because I might check it. I just had a quick look at it. I might check it out as well and see. I'm basically on the lookout for new shooters.
Yeah, cool.
Or people's favorite shooters to play. So even though I'm a third-person gamer, especially while we're kind of in limbo, everyone's looking for the next game that really appeals to them. I'm just jumping back and playing a whole bunch of games, which is why I was in CSGO and PUBG last night, and people were like, "Are you going to play Fortnite?" And, Fortnite. And I was like, "No."
No.
But
what's going to happen? Your next stream, I'm going to be like, "Oh my gosh, this is that like Fortnite streamer."
I mean, you can play Fortnite cross-platform, because you're saying you can play Fortnite with PC players.
Yeah, but then like we would have to be playing
Oh my
together.
god, can we play Prop Hunt together?
Pardon?
That would be amazing. Can we play Prop Hunt together on Fortnite? That would be amazing.
I don't know. I
Does
assume it's
Prop Hunt in
cross-platform. I'm
Fortnite?
actually considering trying it with stream.
We talked about that.
Yeah, that was before. Was it before? Or
I didn't know you were talking about Fortnite. I heard the conversation about Prop Hunt. I didn't realize you were talking about Fortnite. Must have missed that part.
Yeah, I was talking about playing the Fortnite Prop Hunt.
Yeah, Fortnite Prop Hunt. Yeah.
Yeah, I might even try it tonight.
Cool.
Ooh.
I don't know, because I'm very much in gaming limbo, as a lot of people are. Like, I'm really trying to find the game that's gonna grip me, that I just can't wait to start stream every night to play, that I start stream early because I just want to play it, that I want to play it while I should be working, kind of thing. And I miss having that draw to a game that I like. I still want to do that with H1, but I can't, based on the community and everything. Like, I used to be able to play on Australia any time of the day and have a full lobby, and now there's like, you're the only person in the lobby. So I'm very much looking for something that gives me that drive, and until that time, I'm basically playing 4 or 5 new games a week, not completing them. And then if any of those interest me, I'll play them a couple of extra times, and then, I've started playing through The Witcher 3 because I've never played that before.
Oh.
And I played that a lot before I went away. Yeah, so I'm 25, 30 hours in, I think. But again, that's another game where it's very much like playing it in a completionist sense gives you the full story, but like it's a lot of content, especially as
Yeah.
someone who's like a BR streamer. It's very different to regular content, but it is nice if I don't really feel like playing a shooting game to have a story game to fall back to.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I feel like a lot of people are in BR fatigue at the moment. There's just been so many battle royales, people are kind of bored of it, but then they don't have anything that they want to go to
Yeah.
because they enjoyed their battle royales when they were in their peaks, whichever game was the most appealing to them.
Yeah.
And everyone's just kind of stuck. And most people went to GTA RP. So,
yeah, right. Yeah. Well, I hope that's
it's a
it's
difficult
not
time.
the cycle that becomes your favorite game because you can only play it on the weekend at the moment. So that would be hard.
The cycle. I just looked a bit of gameplay trailer stuff, and it looks a bit like Dauntless in a sense, like just like the graphic sense and stuff like that. Do you reckon?
Not as cartoony. Not as cartoony. I kind of get what you mean, like in terms of the color palette, maybe.
Yeah, I think
but it's
maybe
not.
the
It's not as
colour.
cartoony. Yeah. It's yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
It's,
I'll probably give that a go. I signed up for it, so if I get a key, I'll give it a go one day and just see
Yeah.
how it goes. But
yeah, it's
I
cool.
don't know.
I
I
just
just
feel like
find
it would
myself
get a bit
trying new games all the
repetitive.
time, and I think that's the beauty about BR. Like, obviously, this isn't a pure BR game, but the concept of BR is repetitive, but it's
Yeah.
the in-game experiences that make it different. So if
Yeah,
there's
of
enough
course.
variability in games, because I tell people I don't want to just go into a game and do the same thing over and over again. It's boring. They're like, you play BR. It's like 150 of you until the last man standing. It's the same thing. I'm like, but every single game, every single encounter in every game is different.
Yeah.
So it's just one of those things. It's really, I feel like it's a really tough time for gamers. Like, we have a lot of good games, but
Yeah.
it's like even the biggest streamers, I think, are struggling, and a lot of them are hanging on to Fortnite because they've still got their viewer base and their competitive nature, but they're not necessarily enjoying it. But they don't have something else to go to, and
Yeah.
kind of jumping around through things. Because I remember when all the big streamers were like, we don't want to play Fortnite anymore, and they'd play like 2 games of Fortnite. Enough. I remember watching Dr. Lupo do this. He needed to make a YouTube video for Fortnite because Fortnite was like a big part of his YouTube channel. So he played a game of Fortnite and then took off his top shirt and had another shirt on, played another game, took off that shirt, played another game. So he played 3 games of Fortnite in 3 different clothing. His editor was there and said, yep, we've got enough content for 3 videos. And then he went and played Apex for 8 hours.
What the hell?
Which is fascinating because he uses his stream content to make his YouTube videos, double up on his creation. It makes it look like he played Fortnite for 3 days and then he played Apex for 3 days instead.
Gosh.
Because that's what he was interested in. So it's a very peculiar time, but he's a hilarious person to watch as well.
I feel like Summit 1G.
Yes, very familiar.
Yeah, so I feel like he's gone the route of he's just playing whatever game that makes him happy now. Like, he kind of went through a period where he was just like, man, I don't want to play this game. This sucks. Like, I'm just going to play whatever I want to play. And then, because he was playing, what's that game on Xbox? The pirate one that we played for a bit. Sea of Thieves. Yeah, that's it. Sea of Thieves. And everyone hated that game, but he was just like, no, I love it. Like, screw you.
See, that's the kind of streamer I aspire to be, is like, I want to play what I want to play, not what people expect me to play, or like everyone's going, oh, you'll get better viewership if you go to Fortnite. I'm like, no, I won't, because I don't enjoy Fortnite, and people can tell, and people leave. Like, I don't want to watch. And you could see a lot of streamers we just keep talking about Fortnite. Everyone would think I'm a Fortnite streamer, but it's the biggest example. Like, it was a game that absolutely blew up beyond belief. But a lot of streamers went to Fortnite because it was popular and they didn't like it, and you can see that they don't like it. And
100%.
They play it and they're getting frustrated. They're not having fun. Like, I stopped watching streamers who did that because I wasn't having fun as a viewer. And it's sad. Like, it makes you miss that, experience with the content creator. But it wasn't an enjoyable experience for me. So, but there's just so many different games. And like, a lot of the biggest streamers are now going and playing WoW Classic.
Oh my gosh, I was about to say, well, that's what Summit was doing. He went to WoW.
Yeah.
And I have got nothing to do with WoW, but I've watched him play it because I think he's just so good to watch. He's funny and
he's an entertainer.
Yeah, exactly. But
he's like he's known in the shooting games, right? But a lot of these streamers grew up playing WoW like well before they were streamers. So for them, it's like their nostalgia kick is playing WoW and losing their entire lives into WoW when they were teenagers or or whatever. But for me as well, like I see streamers do that, and I don't enjoy WoW. Like I don't enjoy watching WoW, and so it's like, well, if you're not watching WoW, I'll watch you. But like that's because of the way I consume streams is quite different to you. Like you're watching for entertainment value, right? Whereas I'll like watch and have it on the side and interact occasionally. But if it's WoW, like I have no idea what's going on. I'm not focused enough to follow it, and then just stuff doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know.
Well, yeah, I've never played WoW.
I played it for like 5 or 6 hours, and I had viewers playing with me, and they'd all played hundreds of hours, and they just wanted to rush through everything. I'm like, hang on, I'm still reading the quest. I don't know what I'm doing. And they're like, you've already completed it. I'm like, this is not how to introduce someone to a game. Come on. And then I never played it again.
The guys last night that I was speaking to, they're all talking about like WoW Classic and going back into it and stuff like that. And it's still like $20 like a month like to play it. I was like, really? $20 a month for a game that's like 15 years old or something? Like, damn. I was like, that's a fair whack to play an old game.
There was another quite big streamer and YouTuber who am I thinking of? I would remember his name if I said it. But his streaming is his entire career. Like, right, he streams 8-12 hours a day, and he said he's probably going to take 3 months away from streaming when WoW Classic releases because he wants to play it the way he wants to play, and he doesn't feel like he can do that when he's streaming because of like what the community is going to tell him to do and all this kind of stuff, and he's going to be distracted. And he's like, WoW Classic is more important to me than my stream, which was a really powerful statement. But I guess if you pun intended, if you grew up playing a game that was like a huge part of your life and you want to relive that, trying to relive that with 20,000 people watching you and telling you how you should do it, I can understand. But I mean, you could also just like hide your chat, and then people going, just play with a 3-month stream delay. But it was an interesting statement to see, and obviously, like, I'm all for people doing what they want to do, but it's also like streaming is his career, it's his livelihood. It is his job. It's not just a side job for him. But very interesting to see. And he wasn't confirming that that's what he was going to do, but he was just warning people. It's like, I could just disappear for 3 months to play WoW. Which I think says a lot about the kind of game that it is, but I'm just very surprised that someone would do that too.
Yeah, right. Yeah. That's we had a couple of guests on a while ago because neither Chris nor I have played WoW, and they were pretty big on it when whatever the latest update was that came out at the time, and they were like, yeah, we've been playing it since it came out, and it's just huge. And yeah, another thing, looking in from the outside, but I've always wanted to get into an MMO. Like, remember, what was that one that we played a while ago, Chris? Was it Neverwinter Nights or something?
Oh yeah. And then you got your money stolen. That's mad.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, someone hacked into my account and just bought a bunch of virtual currency while I was overseas. That was fun. Yeah, good times.
Good times. Yeah, so the cycle. Yeah, that's good. Fortnite.
That's not.
Love it. So good. Anything else you guys want to add before we wrap up?
Have fun.
Have fun. Potato. Be a potato. Wise words
Have
from
fun
Anomally.
Being a potato.
Yeah.
Evolve into a potato chip. Or a wedge.
It depends what your preference is, right? But I don't discriminate against my potatoes.
I like all potatoes. I don't like raw potatoes, but
no.
I had my 1-year partnerversary stream, and I had a spud cam, so I set up my second webcam. I bought 3 potatoes from the store. I dressed them in clothing, and then the French fry crisps that you can buy.
Yeah.
I fed them that and chocolate chips during the stream. It was my little moment. Like, we go all out with the potato thing. I have a potato grenade as an emote. Like, it's everything. And I figure if you can embrace not being the best,
that's gold. I love that.
Would be the best if I wish I was just stumbling across your stream and I was just like, this chick is feeding
potatoes.
Feeding a potato.
Potatoes.
Yeah.
Twitch is crazy, man.
I've had some fun with it, but you kind of do it every now and then, so people don't just expect you to feed potatoes every stream.
Yeah, you don't want to set that expectation.
No. Well, I have a New Year's party stream where I write names on my face for like support. So we basically just have every New Year's we have a party. I stream for like 12 hours, just playing party games, doing stuff with the chat, and like any resub or anything like that. And I write the name on my face. And it can be done
wow.
multiple times. And like mine, I just look ridiculous by the end of the stream. This year I did it with face paint, and I was just covered. And then at the end of the stream, I got green face paint because I use a green screen, and I just covered my entire face with green paint
I
and
couldn't see
chromed
your
out my
face.
face. And it was absolutely terrifying. I think I scarred myself by doing it.
Oh, you just see like floating eyes and
Yeah, and then
oh
teeth.
no.
Eyes at about.
It was I mean, you can have so much fun with streaming, and that's the thing. Like, if you take yourself too seriously, it's going to be a lot harder. But if you just kick back and have fun and do whatever you
Yeah.
feel like doing within terms of service and reason, and like, you know, stay true to yourself. And you know, some people stream with a persona, and that's fine too. But for me, it's basically what you see is what you get. And you know, I'll come on stream after I've just had a shower and my hair's wet, and then all these, you know, cranky guys are coming to be like, you should go have a shower and wash your hair. And like the girls in the chat, like, do you not know what wet hair looks like? Like, I just it's me. Like, I don't do anything different. And like, if you met me in the street, I'd be exactly the same. Like,
Yeah.
and for me, that's what I wanted to do with this stream. I didn't want to feel like I had to put on a show. I wanted to feel like people were seeing my life and how I enjoy games and how I talk with my community.
Yeah.
And like, it's just very real for me, and it's just me hanging out with friends and having fun doing it. As opposed to, you know, whatever other people do. And like, they can do whatever they want to do, like nothing against that, of course, but like at the end of the day, if I'm not feeling like it's a massive big performance, I can just sit down and be like, oh cool, I want to play a game, let's fire up stream. It doesn't matter that I haven't slept for a day and a half and I look like it.
Oh jeez.
Whatever. It's fine.
Yeah.
So
You gotta be yourself.
good fun.
Oh,
Very
awesome.
glad I got into it.
Yeah, no, that's definitely, that sounds awesome. Especially like, yeah, the sort of message that you're bringing across as well. That's great.
Have you guys thought about doing this podcast live?
We have. I think we've talked about it a couple of times. It's just setting it up because we're doing this remotely. It's a bit more of a challenge, but we'll get there. I think, yeah, it's definitely something I'm working towards.
Because you could really
Still wanna
be hitting streaming and recording at the same time, and there you go, you're live.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's definitely on the cards, and I think, yeah, just streaming games during the week and then do the podcast live. That's definitely on the cards.
It was like I think we're gonna try and do like, because we have this thing called Monster Nights, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it was every Friday. This is about, how long ago do you reckon we started this, Rog? Like
Probably about 10 years now.
10 years ago. Yeah, 10 years ago. Roger used to come over to my house. This is when he was working at like McDonald's back in the day, and he'd have work. He'd start work at like 6 o'clock sometimes.
4:30 in the morning.
Yeah. It didn't stop us though, and we'd play video games every Friday night, and he'd bring over his like TV and his PlayStation, and he would just play video games, buy junk food, and just
bring the TV as well.
Yep.
That's dedication.
Yeah.
Good old.
Yeah,
man
dedication.
parties. Yeah, that's right. TV's
Yeah,
on
exactly.
the back seat.
And then
Oh,
and
God.
we always used to, yeah, and we used to just drink like the Monster Energy drink, and we used to get the stickers off it and put it on the PlayStation. So our PlayStation would just be covered in like Monster stickers, and we just end up calling it Monster Night because we just drink Monsters and play video games.
Yeah.
Like that's all we would do. But seeing life moves on, and we are in like
A bit busier now.
totally different areas now, and
Yeah.
but we do it now, and we still do it like, but it's probably like once a month now. But we want to kind of like, we should stream that from like,
Yeah.
button like that, and
I mean, at the end of the day, you can stream anything, right? And if there are people who stream in other communities where the two people who are streaming both have cameras on, because you can capture cameras in Discord or in Skype or anything like that, and you can both be on the stream, and you can even have both your screens if you wanted to, just depending on how you were doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Or you know, just one of you playing a game or whatever, or you know, one of you sitting in Discord and only seeing one person's gameplay or swapping during the night or anything like that. And at the end of the day, if you're having fun, like, it's a good way to document it, and you're going to potentially be attracting like-minded people and then making more friends who want to be part of it and sharing it. And you know, it helps. You know, I think putting yourself out there on many different platforms is really beneficial too, in any kind of content creation. More eyes on your content that's in line with what you're trying to do helps helps in every sense.
Yeah, definitely. No, it's 100% on the cards. I've been just putting some things together because we want to do it not properly, like in the sense that, like you were saying earlier, buy $2,000 worth of equipment and then it doesn't work out kind of thing. But at least have something decent before we can do that. But no, definitely on the cards.
Well, let me know when you do. I'll check it out.
Yeah, we'll do, definitely. But Anomaly, thank you so much for joining us today. That was a lot of fun. It was.
Well, thank you for having me.
Absolute pleasure having you on, and giving us a bit of insight on what it's like to be a streamer.
Oh, absolutely, it's my first podcast, as I said. Really enjoyed it. So thank you for the opportunity.
Awesome. And what's the best way for
sure.
Yeah, definitely. And what's the best way for our listeners to find your streams?
So on Twitch, my channel is Anomally, which is ANOMALLY. It's a pun on the word anomaly because my name is Ali. So also a little pun on Anonymous Ali. I tried to be cool with it. I'm not sure how well it worked. Came up with a laser tag, so I just translated across. And Twitter is Anomaly TV. And they're the best two places to get me.
Awesome.
Oh,
I thought you were gonna say something else there, Chris. That's why we're quiet. But obviously that's not happening.
You were gonna say something, so I was like,
I was.
I think my
No, you see what happened. What happened was I realized after a few seconds that you said awesome, but initially I thought you said also. But that's fine. We'll move on. What's the best way?
Awesome. Let's move on.
They're so professional.
Oh, tell me about it, Chris. What's the best way for people to find you on the internet?
They can find me on the Instagram at Christofini.gaming, ChristopHine.gaming. I just post some gaming pics.
Some goodies.
What I'm playing and
awesome.
some goodies and stuff like that. How about you, man?
You can find our Instagram if you look up Button Mash Pod, one word, BUTTONMASHPOD. You can also find all of our episodes on our website, which is www.buttonmashpod.com. You can also find the podcast on pretty much any podcast directory at this point. You can email us your feedback, good and bad, at buttonmashpod@gmail.com. And we've got a Facebook page. Button Mash Podcast is where that is. But that's it for this week, people. Thank you so much, Anomaly, for joining us, Chris for hanging out with me as always, and listeners for listening to the show. We'll speak to you next week.